Okay Rene, I can't wait to make my pizza. I have my starter, as you told me, in the fridge, 55 grams. I'm ready to make a pizza. What should I do now? Okay, this is what I do. For my long-fermented sourdough pizza recipe, I take 50 grams of the original starter, then I mix it with 100 grams of water and 100 grams of white strong bread flour. I'm using flour high in gluten. This is called 100% hydration, because we have the same amount of water and flour. This is super important to know to read the recipes, because they usually are written in proportions, which is called baker's percentages. You put it on the side at room temperature. In recipes you will see RT, and you loosely cover it. I usually put a rubber around the jar so I can see when it's doubled in size, or I just mark it with a pen, because we can use it when it's doubled on its peak. This usually happens in 6 up to 8 hours in room temperature in my kitchen. Then you can use it to mix the final pizza dough. This is my recipe, which works for me very well because I really love long fermented high hydration pizza dough. You can always shorten the timings of fermentation and lower the hydration, especially in the beginning when you are starting with your pizza journey. So it's going to be a bit easier to handle the dough when it's less wet, and it's going to be less sticky as well. This is a high hydration, since usually Neapolitan style pizzas are around 50 up to 60% hydration. What is hydration anyway? You will hear people talking about this all the time in the baking world and industry. It's like cool thing, you know? Hydration is the water content as a percentage of the flour content by weight. For example, 1000 grams of flour and 630 grams of water, like in my recipe, is 63% hydration. Flour is always 100%, so you divide 630% of water with 1000 grams of flour, and then the result is 0.63, which is 63%. Simple, right? You will need a scale, a big bowl or a plastic container like I have here, clean hands, and pizza spatula or scraper like this. I love G-Metal, so this is one of my favorite scrapers for making pizza. Here's how to do it. First, add the water into your plastic container. So we'll put 500 grams of Saccorosso Caputo red flour. We'll start mixing. And then we will add 500 grams of Nuvola super. These flours are both, so Caputo red is 00 flour, and Nuvola super is 0 flour. So for this recipe you can easily swap these flours with some high gluten bread flour, or any 00 or 0 high hydration long fermentation flour will work. But I really like these two flours for this recipe. So we mix everything together. This is called, we are starting our autolysis. So we mix everything, that there is no dry parts of flour left. You can see that it's really sticky in the beginning, but as soon you get nice hydrated flour, you will see your hands will be cleaner. So we mix this, basically just flour and water, to kickstart our gluten development. Because when you mix flour and water, it becomes like gluten protein in some time. Okay, so nearly there. You don't need to get crazy, mixing here, even if it looks a bit chunky and raw, not like smooth, it's fine. Just here in the corner we have a bit of more flour, so we want this to come inside like this. A couple of more mixes. While you're mixing the dough, it's really important that you never add flour, because when you're adding flour, when the dough starts sticking, what you're doing, you're lowering hydration in your dough, so your dough will become more dense and chewy, and there is not going to be lots of air pockets, and you don't want this, because that's why we are doing high hydration here. You can always, if you're struggling and your dough is still sticking to your hands, you can always use a bit of water. It's better to add a bit of water on your hands than flour. That's it. We're done. So this is it. I will show you now how it looks. Now if you see, the dough is really well hydrated, but we can easily tear it. It's stirring, like there is no gluten structure yet, so no gluten protein development. So yeah, that's it. We will cover it tightly so there is no air going in, and we will leave it on the room temperature 35 minutes in my recipe, but you can leave it on about 2 hours or even more. Okay, after 35 minutes we are back. So let's check the dough, the difference. It's more nice, like as you see there is some gluten already. We can stretch it a bit, it's not tearing apart, and this only happened with water and flour. Okay, let's do it. So we will add first our 180 grams of starter. I'll go with the hand, love my starter. So here we have 180 grams of starter. Then we'll start mixing our starter. Incorporate it inside the dough. I mean, I know how you feel, because I always feel like what I am doing at this point, this will never go inside. The dough will never take this wet gluey starter, but you will see after a couple of minutes magic happens. So you keep kneading. You want to press it inside this. We're close. Still have some starter on my hands. So now we will add sea salt. So we are adding sea salt. And we mix again. Old saying is that you need to be careful adding salt with wild yeast or any yeast, because it will kill the yeast. But now that's not 100% true. You can put your salt direct into your yeast. You can mix it together, but don't leave it too long without adding flour. So if you mix, for example, water and your yeast, you can add salt to dissolve the salt, but be quick and add flour as soon as possible, because yes, otherwise you can slow down your yeast. Yeah, a couple more kneading. Here we are basically almost like kneading, but like I said, you don't need to go crazy with it, because we already did autolysis, and we will do more stretch and folds during the bulk fermentation. So our pizza bowl dough will be really smooth and it will have lots of strength. Okay, more. You could put the dough into your counter, but you know, sometimes at home it's much easier to mix everything in the bowl. It's totally doable. Less mess. That's what we want at home, right? When I'm making my pizzas for example, for a pop-up, and if I'm using my hand to mix the dough, I will mix it on the table, because usually I'm dealing with 15 kilos. So I do the first mix on the table. I have more space and you know, it's easy to incorporate everything together. Yeah, we're getting there. Here we go. If you see, you can see that the dough is nice and smooth already. It's getting really nice and smooth. Lots of people start doing like window pane test now, but you know, dough will tear apart a bit. I mean, it's quite strong, but you need to relax it for 5-10 minutes, and then you do the window pane test with sourdough. Because now we are smashing it, so it's not relaxed. It's kind of like, what are you doing with me? I wanna eat, I wanna chill. And you're smashing it. You just shape it. Don't worry if it's a bit rough. So just shape it in a nice bowl, something like this, like that. You can knead as well like this. There are many techniques, so just one technique I will show. You can do like a spiral mixer hand, so you're rotating your bowl in one side and then you are folding dough inside, so your hand reacts like a spiral mixer. That's easy to do as well. But yeah, I think we're fine. So yeah, let's do the final adjustment, which is try to make it nice smooth bowl. So just go with the hand under, drag it towards you and up 100 degrees, up 90 degrees, and you're getting the bowl. And that's it. This is it. Now we'll put it on side. We close the lid tightly. We put it on side for another 35 minutes, and then we'll come back and do the first stretch and fold. The dough temperature should be around 24 up to 26 Celsius. You can change the timings depend on your room temperature. After those 35 minutes, wet your hands and you're ready for your first stretch and fold. Okay guys, so we are back after 35 minutes of bulk fermenting proofing. This is our dough. We'll wet our hands. We will go around the edges to loosen the dough. So like this. And then we'll do our stretch and folds. There's like many techniques how to do it. You can even put on the pizza bowl on the table, pizza dough on the table, and do stretches, folds there. But it's easy, you know, less messy. I will put it on the table in my last part, but let's do it now. So first stretch and fold. You stretch it. You know, you need to be careful to not tear it. So when you feel the dough is like, okay, this is enough, you put it back. This is one fold. You turn your container around for 90 degrees. Do another stretch. Put it back. Turn around. Another stretch. This is fourth. You see it's getting tightened already. Boom. A bit harder to stretch. And then we have last one. Like this. You just stretch it though. Don't do like You need to do like nice stretch, you know. That's it. You see, dough is ready. Now you just shape it back like this. Just fold it, put it up and fold it itself like this. So we just tighten it up. Now you can see already the ball is nicer. You can put it out so you can see better. You can see that the dough is already getting nice tight. You can rotate it with your hands. Use your fingers, go under, pull it towards you. You rotate towards you, rotate towards you. That's it. Do some spinning around, and this is it. First stretch and fold, it's done. Why we are doing stretch and folds? Basically we are jumping the kneading process, so you don't need to work hard on your dough for like 30-20 minutes before you start bulk fermenting. And sourdough reacts better when you do stretch and fold. So basically what we are doing, we are strengthening the gluten and we are incorporate fresh air into the dough. So we get like nice stretchy dough in the end of the day, full of air. So we cover it again tightly like this, and we put it on side for another 35 minutes. We're back after 35 minutes. Let's do one more stretch and fold. Let's wet our hands. Loosen the dough around so it doesn't stick, and then we go again. One, you see, we can stretch it even further. That means that we build some strength already. Let's do the same like we did before. 4 stretch and folds like this. Let's do one more, and then start putting it into the bowl. Easy. Put it on the table. So you do again, fold like this. It's really tight already. Super nice dough. We put it back in the container and we'll leave it for another 35 minutes. So we are back after 35 minutes. We'll do third stretch and folds. Wet your hands again. Loosen the dough from around, and let's do it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's put the out and do the stretch. The folds like this, back to the bowl nicely. It's this really nice bowl already. This is nice feeling. You can see it's bouncing already. There's something is happening in the dough. Couple of bubbles already. It's really tight. We have air captured here. It's really nice. Let's put it back for another 35 minutes and we'll be back with another stretch and fold. The last one. For stretching. We're back after 35 minutes. Let's do the final stretch and fold. Wet your hands again. Loosen the dough. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tighten the dough like this. That's it. Recover again and leave it on the counter for 20 minutes to rest, and then we will put it in the fridge. So after 20 minutes of resting, we take our dough out, and on this point you can clean your container or replace it with a fresh one, in my case, so we don't have any dry parts of flour, or so it's clean and it doesn't stick to our fresh pizza dough. So what we do now, we just do one more folds like this, so we tighten the ball up to get smooth ball for the last time. Now you can see it's really nice to handle, it's not sticking even though that is 67% hydration. So yeah, here we go, this is the dough. You tighten it up, and now the dough is ready for 24 hours of CT or cool fermenting in the fridge. So you take it. On this point you can put olive oil in your container, a bit of olive oil, so it doesn't stick a lot, but I usually don't do it. Even if I struggle a bit to take it out, I'm fine with it. So yeah, I'll just put it now in the container like this. We will close it tightly so we don't want any air to come in. We'll put it in the fridge for 12 up to 24 hours, and the next day we will do our pizza balls. So this dough is high hydrated, which means it's 67% hydration, because when you are considering hydration of the dough, yes, we used 630 grams of water, which is 63% of hydration, but you need to consider your sourdough starter, which is 100% hydration. So if you're using, for example, we use like 180 grams of starter, that means that half of the starter in grams is water. So you calculate this to your hydration of the entire dough, and then you will get 67% hydration in total. When this bulk fermentation is complete, take the dough out of the fridge and leave it in room temperature for 30 minutes. After this, you can take it out of the container. Divide your dough into 7 pieces and shape each one of them into a nice smooth ball. There are many different ways to actually shape the ball. I think that for beginners, this one is the easiest one. You should get 7 260 grams balls. This will give us 7, 11 up to 12 inch pizzas. Making half of this recipe will give you 3, 11, 12 inch pizzas and 1 small one. I always recommend making 3 or more pizzas so that you have enough to practice. Then transfer the dough balls into a plastic tray, and I usually don't sprinkle the tray with the flour because I don't want to reduce hydration, and I will add semolina when I will take them out of the tray and before stretching. Now put them in the fridge for another 10 up to 14 hours. If your fridge is not big enough to put pizza trays inside, just leave it in a bulk and make balls on the day when you will bake the pizzas, usually 4 up to 8 hours before. After that, when cold fermentation CT is over, take them out and leave them covered at room temperature for at least 3 up to 8 hours before stretching them and baking your pizza. Be patient because the gluten needs to relax at room temperature. Otherwise you will struggle with stretching out your pizzas.
This long fermentation is the process we talked about in the first lesson. This will make our dough easy to digest and will give it an amazing flavor which will make your pizza taste very special and unique.